Welcome everybody. Welcome Ann-Suhet.
Hi, Cor. Hello, everyone.
Hi. A question that has come up a lot from clients, matrimonial property systems.
Yeah.
In community, out community, we've all heard of that. Can you just go a bit into depth and explain?
So, Cor, what I always tell people, there's three main matrimonial property regimes. Everybody knows in community of property. That's the one where you don't sign an antenuptial contract and it's a joint estate. So whatever is mine, whatever is yours is also mine. We share everything. Big problem there is, I think a lot of people, and I've also had this discussion where people will tell me, okay, well, we're not planning on getting divorced, so we're not going to get an antenuptial contract. But the problem is, it's not only about divorce, it's also a financial liability, that if one spouse is blacklisted, the other one is directly blacklisted as well, just because you're married in community of property. And then the other two marital property regimes, married out of community of property without accrual. I think that is your most clean and clinical. There's no accrual claims or anything like that. And then the last one is also out of community of property with the accrual system, meaning there will be an accrual claim. And how that, I don't want to bore everybody now, but how that normally works is the person with the bigger accrual will have to either forfeit, or the person with the smaller accrual will have an accrual claim towards the person with the bigger accrual, depending on the growth of the marriage.
So if my accrual is 100,000 more than my spouse's, what would the accrual then be, the calculation?
So it will depend on if you have anything excluded from before marriage, and it will also depend on the growth itself. It is a accrual formula that we take into consideration. So it can be quite a formula, especially if you're looking at your millions worth of estates and your bigger estates. But from that side, your accrual is not only your money in the bank, your accrual is also any assets, immovable, movable, anything like that. So from my side, we usually calculate to see if you are married with the accrual system, did you exclude anything before marriage? And if you did not exclude anything and you both started on a nil-nil accrual system, what it will mean is whatever you build up afterwards, if I build up 4 million, you will be entitled to half of the growth of the accrual system.
And I always say it's not an antenuptial, it's not a divorce plan.
No.
It's also an estate plan.
It's an estate plan, yeah.
Because a marriage can only end in two ways.
Yes.
Divorce or death.
Yes.
So just for the people out there also, just a short explanation on the estate planning side of it.
Yes, so an antenuptial contract can have a big effect on your estate as well. From in community of property, if you're married in community of property, and by death, what that will mean is by implication of your marital regime, you will be inheriting everything that your spouse has just because you're married in community of property. But because you're married out of community of property, you will have that freedom to say whoever gets what when, upon death, etc. So what happens on an antenuptial contract is you will have the freedom to actually write up your own will, say who gets what, etc. So your in community of property does not really assist you when it comes to testator's freedom or testatrix freedom, where with an antenuptial contract, it can actually protect you to give in the will whoever you would like to inherit your estate.
Just for the people out there, when must I come see you, and when must I sign the antenuptial, and when does it actually get registered?
All right. So you need to just have the antenuptial contract signed before the date of marriage. That's the most important. It doesn't need to be registered, because we are cognizant of the fact that the deeds office can take some time, which is not in our hands and not in our control, to actually register the document. So as long as the antenuptial contract is signed, we also give you a letter that you give to your pastor or your marriage officer or whoever is attending to the ceremony and the registration of the marriage, to confirm that you did sign an antenuptial contract. Once you've signed it, we then do the lodgement and the notarizing for you. We're an all-inclusive service delivery, and once we then register or lodge it for registration, it takes about 8 to 10 days in the deeds office for registration. Yes, you do have a 3-month period after you've signed that you need to lodge it in the deeds office in order for it to be valid. Yeah.
For any antenuptial related queries, contact myself or Ann-Suhet.
Yes, we're ready to assist.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.